So 8.3 part 2. We're going to be looking at sequences today. Oh, I lied. Series today, actually. So series is just when we do the sum of them. So geometric series. Our formula for a geometric series is this. So when we're looking for the sum, we plug everything into here. So a sub 1 is just like it was before, our first term. R is our ratio. And n is the number of terms. So when looking for the sum of a series, we have that little summation thing, just like we had before. Sometimes we start with I is equal to 1, and let's just say we go up to 9. How many terms do we have here? What would our n be equal to? 9. We have 9 terms. But sometimes our I starts at 0 and goes to 9. How many terms would we have here? 10. Because we have to include 0. So we have 1 through 9 plus 0. So that would give us 10 terms. So just be careful with where you start and where you end to determine your n. So we're going to find the sum of our geometric series here. Our formula is a sub 1 times 1 minus r to the power of n over 1 minus r. So we need to figure out what our a sub 1 is, our first term. We need to figure out what our r is and our n, how many terms we have. So we find our a sub 1 by taking our first term and plugging it in. It tells us we start with 1, so we plug in 1 into our formula. So we have 4 times 3 to the power of 1 minus 1. What is 1 minus 1? 0. What is 3 to the power of 0?
1.
1. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. And then what's 4 times 1? 4. So a sub 1 is equal to 4. Now what do you think our rate is? Our ratio. What's our ratio? Looking at our equation here, we don't have very many options. What do you think our ratio is?
3.
3. Awesome. Our ratio is 3. It's always what has that exponent there. So 3 has the exponent. That's our ratio. And then how many terms are we going to have? We start at 1 and end at 10. How many do we have? Perfect. 10. So now we plug everything into our formula. We have a sub 1, which is 4, times 1 minus r, 3 to the power of n, so to the power of 10, over 1 minus 3. So when solving this, super important that we follow the order of operations. Have to do not only the parentheses first, but the top of our parenthesis, and more specifically, the exponent. So we have to do that 3 to the power of 10 first. And 1 minus that would give us negative 59,048. And then 1 minus 3 on the bottom would give us negative 2. So negative 59,048 divided by negative 2 would be 29.
Wait, 3 to the power of 10 is 59,048 or 648?
We did, that's a 0.
Oh,
But yeah, 1 minus
that's
3 to the power of 10 is what we did
oh, okay.
on the top. We'll fix that 0. There. So this would give us 29,524. And then we have to multiply that by our 4 out front. And that would be 118,096. And that's our answer. So if we plugged in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 10, and added them all together into our formula here, we would get 18,096. But this formula saves us from having to plug in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and adding them all up. So we can use this anytime we have a geometric series. All right, let's look at the next 3. So we're doing the same thing. So our formula is a sub n, a sub 1 times 1 minus r to the power of n over 1 minus r. So we need to figure out what our a sub 1 is, our rate, our ratio, and our number of terms. It's an n. So a sub 1, how do we find our a sub 1?
Plugging k into.
So we plug 1 into k. So we have 5.
You plug 1 into k.
Yes. So 5 to the power of 1 minus 1. What is 5 to the power of 1 minus 1? 1. Awesome. Because 1 minus 1 is 0. 5 to the power of 0 is 1. What is our ratio? 5. Perfect. Our ratio is whatever has that exponent attached to it. So that would be 5. And then how many terms are we looking at here? 8. We start at 1 and go to 8, so there are 8 terms. So we start at 1 and go to 8. So n is 8. So let's plug everything in. We have 1 times 1 minus our ratio, which is 5, to the power of n, which is 8, over 1 minus our ratio, which is 5. So I'm going to do the top of my parentheses first. So 1 minus 5 to the 8th power. Be careful when putting it on parentheses. You could do it all at once, but just make sure be careful when you put it into your calculator, because you can do it all at once. Just make sure you're using parentheses when you put it in your calculator. So on the top I get negative 39,0624. And then on the bottom, 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So I'm going to divide this by negative 4. So I have 1 times 970, or 97,656. And 1 times this is itself, so that is our answer. All right, let's look at number 8. So we need our a sub 1, our ratio, and our number of terms. How do we find our a sub 1?
Plugging 1 into the I at top.
Plugging 1 into the I. So we have 6 times negative 2 to the power of 1 minus 1. What do we get here? 6. Perfect. 1 minus 1 is 0. Negative 2 to the power of 0 is just 1. And 1 times 6 is 6. Now what is our ratio? Negative 2. Perfect. It's whatever touches whatever has the exponent. So negative 2. And then what is our n?
12.
12. Awesome. Then we plug everything in. We have 6 times 1 minus r, which is negative 2, to the power of n, which is 12, over 1 minus negative 2. So on the top, I'm going to do negative 2 to the power of 12. Which is positive 4,096. But it is still 1 minus 4,096. So that would be negative 4,095. And then whenever you have minus a negative number, so down here, this becomes a big plus sign. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So I'm dividing this negative 4,095 by 3. So that would be 6 times negative 1,365. And then just multiply it times 6. That would be negative 8,190. So just be careful when plugging it into your calculator. Any questions on that one? All right, let's do number 9. So we need to find our a sub 1, our ratio, and our number of terms. How do we find a sub 1?
Plugging 1 into the t.
Plugging 1 into t. So negative 16 times 0.5 to the power of 1 minus 1. What do we get?
0.
Negative 16. This becomes 0, but 0.5 to the power of 0 is just 1. Negative 16 times 1 is negative 16. What is our ratio?
0.5.
0.5. And what is our number of terms? 7. Perfect.
7.
So let's plug it all in. We have negative 16 times 1 minus our ratio to the power of n, 7, over 1 minus 0.5. So I'm going to do 0.5 to the power of 7. And then 1 minus that. So that would give me 0.9921875. And then divide that by 1 minus 0.5. What's 1 minus 0.5? Just 0.5. So divide that by 0.5. And that would give us 1.98437.5. And then just multiply that times 16. Negative 16. So that would be negative 31.75. And that's our answer.